Welcome back, everyone, to our next episode in our Let's Play series of Industry Manager Future Technologies. Before we get into the gameplay, let's talk a little bit about where we were last video and where we want to go for this video. So we ended last video, and if we use our mini map here, we ended last video, we had built 4 oil wells at maximum capacity, fully upgraded, and then we also have 2 refineries. We had gotten our last refinery, which needed about a little over 1,000 oil barrels per day to max out its production of petrochemicals. And then in our second factory, we've got polymer being produced, which needed approximately the same amount of oil barrels. So we need about 900 to 1,000 oil barrels per day to fund each of these, and each one of our oil wells produces 524 per day, so we're in a roundabout. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about getting down and nickel and dime in this thing. I'm just trying to get approximately the numbers we need. I'm not going to worry if it's a few percentages off or a few oil barrels here or there. I'm not worried about that. So how do we get started for today? Well, if we come back to our production tree, let's just focus right now on the mobile phone. So if we look here, we need plastic chemicals, the lithium-ion battery, and integrated circuit. Okay, if we further break this down, this is where we started working. We started with our oil wells, got those maxed out. Production is maxed out there. We're good to go. Next is refinery. I want to get our refineries maxed out in production, which for me means I want to max out the number of workers I have available there. We're also going to want to build chemical factories and electronics factories. As you see, we need one for each of these. So we're already well on our way here as well, because we've got the oil wells going, and we've got one of our refineries making petrochemicals and one making polymer. So we're well on our way there. So we're going to want to get a couple of chemical factories set up to begin making those. One will use the petrochemicals, one will use the polymer. So let's go ahead and get started there. But before we can even get there, you can see we have no research queued up. Well, that's not good, because we got plenty of research to do. But there are 2 things I want to do here. First, we got to get some research queued up for the refinery. And there it is. And we want to, 1, 2, 3. We want to max that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that up and going. And let's go ahead and get our time started. We're going to have it a little bit accelerated once we get going. But one of the things I want to do, and thank you very much for pointing this out in the comment section, is I had totally forgotten to build additional research and development facilities. I have gotten so caught up in working through everything related to, all these production lines and trying to get everything mapped out, that I completely forgot to build more research and development. So for now, we're going to add an extra one. And as a matter of fact, I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and build yet another one as well while we're over here. And the reason is so we can hire some people and get this research done quite a bit quicker. So again, thanks for the wonderful comment on that, because I had completely forgotten about it. So focused on other things, and really appreciate you pointing that out for me to help me out. All right, so let's go ahead and accelerate time a little bit, get this research going. And let's see, we're going to slow things down just for a minute so we can hire 96 workers. Let's see, how many do we have here? Okay, so we can get more workers here. And yeah, there we go. So things are going along pretty good here. As you can see, we've got some research that can be done as far as how quickly we get things done. But for the most part, we're well on our way. Okay, so let's get our research up and going. So as you can see, we got 48 people working now. Let's go ahead and hire the absolute maximum. So that maxes us out at 144. So we're in good shape. We're showing 144 in each of the 3 research and development facilities. So we ought to have some research that we are screaming through now. All right, let's go ahead and unpause things. And you can see our money. I'm really not even too terribly worried about the amount of money we have coming in per turn now. We're at around 120,000 right now. But what really matters to me, because we don't have any competition to worry about, is basically trying to get enough money here so that we can continue to expand our businesses. All right, so we have our second resource is really moving along here. So we're going to be ready for our third resource, which, for one thing, I want to research the final amount there. And then we're going to see what we need to get into on some of these product buildings and resource buildings. So here, if we start to look at oil wells, we've maxed out what we can do here, and we can increase the storage and start working at cost and production quality, but I'm really not interested in that. So if I come down to, let's see, oh, went right by it. Refinery, you can see we're about to max out there. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is work on the next thing in the chain, which is going to be either the personal electronics factory or the chemical. And in this case, personal electronics factory, we're there. And let's come down now to, if I could pick the right one, electronics company. All right, so we're going to want to queue up our workforce here. 1, 2, 3 there. Okay, excellent. So we're now maxed out in that area. So now we can go to our chemical factory. We only have 2 slots left, but we're going to go ahead and max that out for at least what we can for now. Now let's come back down to our refineries. And oh goodness, we've got a strike. And it's for the software company again. And this looks to be about the same message as I got before, so we're not going to worry too much about that. All right, so let's go ahead and get things back going again. Okay, so we've got these. We want to do our worker upgrades, and now we can have a total of 30 workers. And so let's go ahead and max out production. Once again, now we're at 833. Do we want to hire additional workers? Absolutely, we do. And so that will take care of this situation. Now let's go to our petrochemicals. And we need to upgrade our workforce. Maximum now of 30 workers. And let's go ahead and max out at 333 of these per day. So now we've taken care of that. Now let's go ahead and start building. If we come back into our product tree here, refineries and oil wells now maxed out of production, chemical factories and electronic factories. We're going to go ahead and start with chemical factories. So let's come down here to our building shop and let's find the chemical factory. Electronics, software, where are we? Chemical factory, right here. So we're going to go ahead and let's put this, I'll tell you what, let's put this back up in our main area. This thing is huge. Let's try not to use up any more space than we have to. And put this guy right here. And we know already that we're going to need 2 of these. One for each of the products, at least one for each of the products that we're working on right now. And we'll sit the second guy down there. And really loving our research moving right along now. That is very nice. So we come down here and they've done some updates to the game, and there are a few things that I want to point out. I mean, this is a wonderful screen. You can see your inventory screen. Now, one misleading thing here is it shows that we're mining lithium. Well, we're not actually mining it. This is what we're purchasing from the global market. Now, the oil well. One thing I love here is you can see at the very bottom, we're consuming 1,079. That would be for our 2 refineries. And we're producing 2,111. Now that number should come up quite a bit based on what I've seen from our math earlier on how many we needed from max production. So we'll see how that works out. But right now it looks like we've got plenty of room on production of oil. And then you can see here in our refineries, we're not using anything that we're producing just yet. That's what our chemical factories and electronic factories are going to take care of for us. Okay, so now we have these two factories in place, and let's see what we need them to make. All right, we need plastics and chemicals. Okay, so our first production line, we're going to, let's go ahead and add the upgrade for increased number of workers, or excuse me, for plastics and rubbers, my bad. And all right, we're not going to worry about our progress report because that's not all that important for us right now. All right, so we got plastics and chemicals. So you can see there's quite a few things we can make. But right now, we know what we need. We need plastics. And so we're going to need 750 of the polymer. All right, so here in just a moment, we'll come back and we'll see how that relates to, because I can't remember all these numbers. We'll have to see how that relates to the number of polymer that we're actually making per day right now in our one refinery dedicated to that. So we need 750 for the plastics. Let's go ahead and create this line and max it out. 600 is the maximum production. And yes, we want to hire all the workers. Let's max out the quality. Again, I'm not sure that that actually makes any difference at all. But just to be sure, we are going to do so. Okay, so what do we need here? Let's go ahead and set up for plastics. Now, how much do we need of these? We needed polymer, and I believe it was 750 for max production, which we're not quite ready for. But we do need these pieces to the puzzle. And again, where this comes from is if we try to add another plastics line, you can see that resources that are needed is only polymer. So now if we come back to our transportation, this transportation takes care of getting our plastics, our final product of plastics, to the warehouse. And this takes care of getting our polymer from the warehouse to our factory. So we're good to go there. Okay, before we get that one set up, we need to see what else we need to make in our other chemical factory. We need chemicals. Okay, and so let's go back in. And don't know that we actually need that upgrade. Let's take a look. So chemicals, no, we did not need that upgrade. So here we're going to make chemicals, and you can see it needs 200 petrochemicals per day. All right, so we're going to need 200 petrochemicals. Again, here in just a moment, we'll go over to our refinery and see if we're actually making that much per day. I don't think we are. Okay, let's go ahead and change our quality to max that out. And we can make 144 chemicals per day right now out of here. Let's go ahead and set up our transport routes. And the first one for our petrochemicals, which we'll need to start production, and then one for our final product of chemicals, and take those to the warehouse. Now, if you remember, we've been purchasing chemicals from the global market. So with this in mind, what we're going to do is go over to our global market, click on orders, find our chemical order, and even though we're not quite getting everything that we need, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that order. Okay, and as we start producing these things, I want to rely on our production more than the global market. So that's the way I'm going to approach this. All right, let's now head back down to our refinery and get our time back going again. Forgot I had paused that. Okay, so we've got our worker upgrade. We're maxed out on number of workers there. And we're making 333 petrochemicals per day. That is good because for chemical production, remember, we needed 200 per day. So we're good there. That's excellent. Okay, now let's take a look at our polymer needs. Now, for plastic production, we needed 750 polymer. And as you can see, we've made that. So things are going well so far, so good. But as you can see, we're not done with all our research yet. This particular research is for the electronics factory. And as you can see, we're continuing to increase the number of workers. So let's take a look at our, if I can ever remember the right one to hit. All right, so for research on this, we have 2 already in line, and we're going to go ahead and make our 3rd. So what this is going to mean is we're going to need more polymer and more petrochemicals probably before this is all said and done, when we get to increase our production. So again, we'll see how that goes as we move along. I think we're going to be okay, but we shall see. All right, so let's go ahead and take just a quick glimpse and see where exactly we are with things. And if we come back over to our personal electronics, you can see that we're producing 183 per day, consuming 175, and you can see that number is going to fluctuate around. So we're producing a little bit more of the smart glasses than is actually being consumed. So what I'm going to do now is actually go over here to one of the cities, and we're going to change that a little bit. So it was the smart glasses that we need to adjust. So I am going to simply adjust this by a little bit, not a huge amount. All right, so somehow I ended up with 234 instead of 235. Oh, that's because I haven't upgraded. Wow. How about that? So we need to upgrade some stores. All right, so what products do we need to bring in? Well, we've got a few, actually. We've got both of our new products in our personal electronics category to add. All right, so we've gotten that taken care of here in one place. And so one of the updates that you can see, and this is where I wanted to test out. You notice your sale price here. This is 234, and it goes to 220 here. So you're now able to set different prices per city. So now we're going to do the same thing here. This shows at 280, and here we're at 345. So let's go ahead and change that back to 345 here. And that takes care of that. So now let's just look and make sure that everything is what we want it to be. 345 and 234. All right, so we're going. Now, here, same problem. We need to upgrade. Let's confirm the upgrade and add our two new products. Warehouse is going here. There we go. And because I can't remember all the numbers, it's 345 and 234. So 345 and 234. All right. So that takes care of what we need there. Now if we come back to the inventory screen and take a look, you can see the mobile phone we're producing 251, consuming 249, 251. So I think we're good there. We're good here on production as well. For the antivirus, producing 101, consuming about the same. Same with media development, integrated development environment, about the same. And again, all of these so far, all of our products are produced and consumed about the same amount. So in other words, the number that we're producing per day is about the number that is being consumed per day, which is good. It means our pricing is pretty good. I'm sure there's... Okay, so these are things that we're not actually selling these items. This is what we're bringing in from the market, and we're going to start production of. Now, over in chemicals, we are, if you'll remember, we got rid of our global market orders that we're bringing these in each day, but we're not consuming all that many right now. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can figure out why that is. All right, let's do the workforce upgrade here. Our research, wow, our research has really accelerated. So our electronics research is good. And our chemical factory research is good. Now, there are things that we can do beyond this. You can see we've already opened everything up there. We've opened everything up here as far as the base level of what we need. So we're in good shape. Now I think I'm going to, since I don't have anything immediately that I want to open up, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the research duration so it'll take even less time to research. So let's go ahead and let that take effect. And let's come back over here and let's max out our production with the new research. So now we're at 2,500 plastic per day. And in our second factory where we're making our chemicals, let's go ahead and change this. Let's see. It helps if you remember to upgrade the workforce first. So now let's come back in and see what we get. You can see a sizable increase there. All right, so we're off and running with our production. So now we have 25 workers, none of them idle in either of our chemical factories. We have our production line one more level deep now. And we'll end the video here by taking a look at where we are now and where we want to go for the next video. Okay, so now we have oil wells. They're pumping. We have 4 of these at maximum production, providing enough oil for both of our refineries, both to make polymer as well as to make petrochemicals. Then we have 2 chemical factories right now, one making plastics, one making chemicals. And again, both are fully supplied. So next time, we'll be working on our lithium-ion batteries and integrated circuits. Thanks for joining me on this particular part of the journey in Industry Manager Future Technologies.